In April 2020, a thresher shark was unexpectedly found washed ashore on a beach in Briga, along the coast of Libya. A dead shark washing up on this beach didn't seem like much to worry about. But strangely, there was a very obvious wound on the top of this shark's head. Clearly, the shark's death must be related to this wound. The photographer curiously reached out and touched it, unexpectedly pulling a 20-centimeter-long object out of the wound. What exactly was this thing? Afterward, Yambor, a member of a local citizen scientist group, stated that this was a weapon left behind by a 3-meter-long swordfish. 3 meters long, and it's a swordfish? Scientists were actually quite certain, even though swordfish aren't the only ones in the ocean with long bills. Putting aside how he made that judgment for a moment, the problem is that thresher sharks and swordfish usually have no interaction at all. Since thresher sharks eat small fish, they wouldn't pose a threat to swordfish. So why would a swordfish launch an attack on an innocent shark? Looking at the position of the wound, it can be seen that this swordfish hit its target with precision. Was this an accident, or was it intentional? It's often heard that fishermen have had their chests pierced by swordfish, or fishing boats have had large holes punctured by them. What kind of existence is a swordfish really? Are they truly the berserkers of the ocean? In this episode, we're going to talk about this world-renowned apex predator, the swordfish. Swordfish, named after the long bill on its head, which looks like a giant sword. They belong to the order Istiophoriformes, family Ziphidae. The swordfish genus is the only species under this genus, and it is also one of the most iconic fish in the order Istiophoriformes. The swordfish is a large migratory fish, comparable in size to tuna and marlin, usually growing up to 3 meters long. According to reports, the longest swordfish to reach shore exceeded 4.5 meters, and its weight reached 650 kilograms. Generally, females are larger than males. The size of swordfish also varies in different sea regions. Swordfish in the Pacific Ocean are larger than those in other regions. When we talked about marlin before, we mentioned that swordfish and marlin look very similar. But in terms of biological classification, there isn't much of a relationship between them. At that time, there was a very important point we didn't mention, which is that besides having different lengths, the bills on their heads also have different shapes. A marlin's bill is oval-shaped, like a long spear. A swordfish's bill is longer, as well as wider and flatter. The edges are sharp and it tapers from the head. It is essentially a sword. Because of this, many countries often call the swordfish the broadbill. So this is why scientists were able to determine it was the work of a swordfish when they saw the weapon embedded in the thresher shark. Because this flat shape is unique to swordfish. Additionally, the swordfish's dorsal fin is a triangular hook shape, which cannot be folded, and its body is more slender and more rounded. Since they like to hunt in deeper open ocean waters, it is very difficult to film them hunting. Someone found a lancet fish in their stomach that had been chopped into pieces. These chopped fish pieces could even be reassembled into the complete shape of the fish. For smaller prey, or those suitable for swallowing whole, they won't waste energy on slashing. For example, several squids were found in their stomachs. Even though these squids were relatively large, because squids are quite slippery, the swordfish chose to swallow them whole. As open ocean foragers, they can dive to depths of 500 to 2,000 meters. Many deep-sea fish grow exaggeratedly large eyes to gain better vision. While the swordfish's eyes aren't that exaggerated, they are much larger compared to those of a marlin. Someone once removed a huge, transparent eyeball from one. Some people even use their eye sockets as containers for wine. One has to say, foreigners really know how to have fun. Early on, scientists always maintained that the swordfish's sword was merely a tool used during hunting to stun and chop up prey, because there was no evidence showing they would use the sword as a weapon. But how to explain the thresher shark with a pierced head along the coast of Libya? Scientists believe this was likely an accidental friction that occurred while they were fighting over prey. To put it plainly, it was an accident. Is that really the case? However, a series of mysterious discoveries forced scientists to retract their previous statements. In August 2021, people found a stranded blue shark on a beach in Benidorm, eastern Spain. This shark was about 2 meters long and weighed about 60 kilograms. It had lost its way and finally swam to a place full of swimmers. Police and a rescue team from the Valencia Oceanarium rescued it and released it back into the sea. But a few days later, in El Campello, 30 kilometers to the south, this shark was found dead on the shore. According to the autopsy results by Penades, a researcher at the Department of Marine Zoology, University of Valencia, the cause of death originated from a wound near the gill. And this wound matched the one seen in the video recorded by local police a few days earlier. This was a wound left by a swordfish attack. Back in 2016, the first scientifically recorded case of a shark fatally attacked by a swordfish occurred in Valencia. The specimen was found dead on a nearby beach. Subsequent tests showed that an 18-centimeter-long sword fragment was embedded in its brain. Dr. Penades, who participated in the study, explained that this sword completely pierced the shark's brain, splitting it in two. By the end of 2019, Penades' team had successfully recorded 5 other attack incidents. All the punctures were strikingly similar. The attacks were all directed at the head. The insertion of the sword was extremely precise. It could reach the eyes or the brain. You have to realize these are all vital, fatal areas. So Penades' team believes these are intentional acts by the swordfish. They are not random attacks. The cases discovered are just the tip of the iceberg. The reason is that sharks do not have swim bladders. Dead sharks generally sink to the bottom of the ocean. The probability of being washed ashore is inherently low, and the probability of being washed ashore and then coincidentally found is even lower. So it is very possible that swordfish have already become the berserkers of the seabed. They have gradually realized that the giant sword on their head can be used as an offensive weapon. Divers have captured footage in the ocean of swordfish launching attacks. This might not be an accident, or a mistake, it's just their legitimate counterattack. Because swordfish meat is firm and fatty, it is very suitable for making swordfish steaks. Therefore, it is favored by Westerners. The cooking method is also quite simple. Cut the swordfish into large chunks, sprinkle with seasonings and marinate for a certain time, then grill over charcoal until cooked. It's said that swordfish steaks made this way taste quite excellent, incredibly fresh and fragrant. Yet, the seemingly delicious swordfish became a focal point of discussion among Jewish people. How so? It turns out that in the Jewish world, there is a tradition that has been passed down for over 3,000 years. They believe that fish without fins and without scales are not clean food and cannot be eaten. This is the famous kosher rule. But the swordfish is a bit of an anomaly. This fellow has scales when it is young. When it grows to about 1 meter long, the scales gradually disappear. The supporting side believes swordfish can be eaten because young swordfish have scales. The opposing side argues that adult swordfish do not have scales and do not belong to kosher food. To clarify the mystery of the disappearing swordfish scales, Dr. Ari Zivotofsky, a biology doctor from Massachusetts, once spent a lot of time and effort researching this aspect. As it turned out, the swordfish's scales don't actually fall off and disappear. Instead, as the body grows, the scales are gradually covered by the dermis. Most of them are hidden beneath the skin, leaving only a small amount of the tips exposed. Additionally, their skin layers secrete mucus, which makes the scales look almost non-existent. But it is certain that they haven't fallen off. In other words, adult swordfish actually do have scales. Why do adult swordfish hide their scales? Just to secrete mucus? John Vittler, a biologist from the University of Groningen in the Netherlands, conducted further research. He used MRI to scan a pair of adult swordfish and captured 657 images of the fish's interior. The results revealed a massive gland where the swordfish's bill connects to the skull. Initially, they suspected it was an organ related to the sense of smell. Ultimately, they found it wasn't. It turned out to be an oil-secreting gland. There is a heating system around the eyes that can heat the oil. The heated oil is then transported to the skin of the head and body. This special oil is not only waterproof, but also reduces drag while swimming. John estimated through models that the oil can reduce drag by over 20%. It turns out hiding scales and secreting mucus is all to achieve faster swimming speeds. A streamlined body combined with the oil system's boost makes the swordfish one of the fastest fish underwater. Early literature descriptions claimed their swimming speed could reach 100 kilometers per hour. Although there is some debate, it is widely accepted that the swordfish, along with the marlin, is a king of underwater speed. Since they are such fast fish, was it very difficult for early people to catch them? Actually, no. If you have the chance to travel to Italy, at the Strait of Messina in the Mediterranean, you will see a peculiar-looking type of boat. It is called a felucca, specifically developed for catching swordfish. According to veteran fishermen, this type of fishing boat has been widely used since the ancient Greek period. The hull has two important parts. One is a high-rising observation tower, where a person keeps a lookout to spot the swordfish and control the boat's direction. The other is a long extending arm, where several harpooners stand. Once they get close to a swordfish, they immediately launch their harpoons. Although swordfish are fast, they have a weakness. They like to swim leisurely on the surface and sunbathe when idle. They even expose their dorsal fins, as if telling the people on the boat, "I'm here, come and catch me." Usually, for swordfish caught by these boats, people will place a mark on the fish's head to prove it was caught manually. This swordfish meat is a famous delicacy in Italy. It is expensive, but some unscrupulous businesses, seeking huge profits, will use shark meat to impersonate swordfish. This is mainly to deceive tourists from out of town. You should know the price difference between the two is more than tenfold. Swordfish meat is not only favored in Europe, but is also a highly popular delicacy in North America, especially a special variety that suddenly emerged in the 1950s, which pushed swordfish fishing to its peak. What happened? In 1955, in some North American seafood markets, a variety called pumpkin swordfish suddenly appeared. The biggest difference between this swordfish and regular ones is the color. Regular swordfish meat is usually a pale red, but this special variety was a bright orange. It looked just like a pumpkin, hence the name pumpkin swordfish. At the time, merchants touted that this was a premium item. It was rare, not only beautiful in color, but also rich in nutrients, claiming it enhanced beauty and had various benefits for men, as well as for women. After all the marketing hype, the price of pumpkin swordfish began to soar, and the market supply couldn't keep up. To meet market demand, and to gain more wealth, large commercial fleets began heading out to sea. By this time, the way people caught swordfish had been replaced by long-line fishing, a newer, more efficient, and less labor-intensive method. In just 10 years, the volume of swordfish landed increased tenfold. If not for a major event that happened later, the swordfish population likely would have collapsed. In December 1970, an article published in the New York Times was like a bombshell, knocking the booming swordfish industry off its pedestal. The published article was an inspection report from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA. The report pointed out that after testing, 89% of swordfish meat on the market had severely excessive mercury levels. The excess was even more than 3 times that of previously recalled tuna. Although government departments stated that swordfish meat could still be eaten, the consumers were already terrified. Why were people so afraid? This might be related to a mysterious illness that occurred in Japan years earlier. In the 1940s, in the area around Minamata Bay in Kumamoto Prefecture, animals like cats and crows were first found to have neurological diseases like tremors. Some crazed cats even jumped into the sea. In the early 50s, this strange condition spread to humans. In 1956, Minamata City confirmed this was a disease. But the cause was unknown at the time, so it was called Minamata Disease. In 1960, Minamata Disease was also discovered in Niigata Prefecture, Japan. This outbreak was even more severe, resulting in 48 deaths among 150 victims. The final investigation results shocked the world. It turned out to be mercury poisoning caused by large discharges of organic mercury from companies like Showa Denko. This incident made the whole world realize the power of mercury poisoning. It's no wonder the American people were so worried about excessive mercury in swordfish. Swordfish are at the top of the food chain. Based on the principle of big fish eating small fish, mercury continuously accumulates in their bodies. So, is there a connection between pumpkin swordfish and mercury? Actually, there is no connection at all between them. The pumpkin swordfish is not a new variety at all. It is simply that the swordfish ate too many shrimp, causing astaxanthin to accumulate in the body, which then turned the meat orange. And astaxanthin is non-toxic. After over 20 years of quiet following the 1970s, the swordfish population gradually recovered. Now, there are more restrictions and regulations on swordfish fishing. It is more standardized now. People have also become more rational about eating swordfish. I wonder, have you ever eaten swordfish meat?